Good evening and welcome to tonight's episode of If It Wasn't For My Knees. Tonight I'm joined by Mikey D and Uche. Uche's got a bit of a smile on his face already, sporting his Juve top. Mikey D, I'm going to come to you first. Because we're going to talk about England. We're going to talk about England-Italy Euro Championship final. Biggest game for England, 55 years. The nation expected, everyone was singing it was coming home. Kids at school were being taught the lyrics. And Mikey, it's going to Rome.
It was good times for 24 hours. And then the game happened. But yeah, he did the same thing throughout the tournament. And he had to get unstuck at some point in time. Otherwise, he was just going to be fortunate to play a defensive lineup throughout a whole tournament. And Uche is like the oracle out here right now. Play Greece tactics. I think that's the protocol that Gareth Southgate had. He's got all the attacking talent in the world. He's probably got the most ammunition in terms of midfield wide players in the whole tournament.
Yep.
Like taking into account France and all of these other like bigger, better nations. He's got the best group and he couldn't utilize them. He decided to play with two DMs throughout the whole tournament. The whole tournament, regardless of who they played. He even went to 5 at the back with two DMs. And he went to 5 at the back with two DMs and a midfielder playing left wing in the final, in Mount.
Yeah, Mason Mount.
He was able to get game time whenever he wanted it, really. It was ridiculous. Did Mount have 1 assist in the whole tournament? I don't think he had any output in the whole tournament.
Henderson corner.
Go-to attacking player. Raheem stepped up through the tournament. Didn't get anything on at the weekend. Kane eventually managed to get some goals. Mount got nothing. Grealish got a couple of assists. Saka got a couple of assists. Foden didn't really get as much game time as everybody would have thought. He was injured for the final somehow. I don't know how he's picking up an injury in the final training session before the European Championship final. That just is ludicrous to me. But yeah, Gareth, he's going to take them into Qatar as well with this same nonsense. It's like the only good thing is that they got to the final. So under him, they've got to a semi-final and they've got to a final. But
somehow
he's playing the worst tactics that you could ever want as a fan to be able to watch. But generally, teams go on from making semi-finals and finals to actually winning something. Don't know if they will do under him, but yeah. And they played an abysmal Italy side. Early on in the tournament, you guys were eulogizing, and I was thinking, what are you guys talking about? And then when I actually started watching, this Angel Locatelli weren't even playing. And literally, I'm sure Uche will even admit it. This is the worst Italy side that we have possibly seen in our living memory in terms of. Yes, what Immobile up. Listen,
Immobile is a joke, man. Honestly,
we watched it together. The only threat that I thought there was Chiesa, and Uche rightly marked him down before the tournament. And I was mocking him for a bit, but in my head, I already knew that he's the guy. Like for them, Insigne as well. I like him. But other than that, there was no threat. Obviously, Verratti and Jorginho are nice in the middle, but there's no threat other than those two. And England with a defensive performance. I even referred to Uche during the game at a point in time when England had 48% possession, Italy had 52% possession. Within half an hour, it was 76% possession to Italy.
As in the first half an hour of the match, you mean?
How do you allow that to happen? How do you allow it? And then I even said he won't make a change until 70 minutes.
Yeah.
And Saka will come on. Saka gets stripped on 69 minutes. The guy is so predictable. So I think I've said enough. I don't want to talk about them anymore. And as for the penalty shootout, boy, it's probably the worst situation that we could have looked at in terms of the everything. But let Uche have his moment.
I will come to Uche and he said, do you think that Southgate played for penalties? Because he didn't look like he was looking to win that match.
To win. Listen, I said it at the time. Mancini was making sub after sub after sub to try and switch it up, to try and change things. Whether you agreed with the subs, he used what he had at his disposal, what he thought that he could try and do something. And eventually they scrambled to go in. They scrambled to go in because at the point where they scored a goal, was Chiesa off by then?
No.
Maybe just after the goal he came off. If he stayed on, trust me, England wouldn't have been attacking the way they were because Chiesa would have been exploiting that space at the back again. So, yeah, there was fortune that got to penalty shootout, and then the idiot went and brought on 2 guys to take penalties with a minute to go, and they both missed. And he'd already subbed 3 of his penalty takers. So, yeah. And the other thing, I'm going on a rant here.
But no, keep going. Get off your chest, Mikey. Get off your chest.
Take off Mount at a point. It was in extra time he took off Mount, weren't it?
Yeah.
So at the point where you know it's going to go to penalties, you take off a penalty taker.
Yeah.
And you take off Rice, who would have been a penalty taker. You bring on Henderson, who you subbed off because you didn't want him to take penalties.
Yeah.
So there were so many bad decisions made in that. And then he comes out and he says that he selected all the penalty takers. He's going to take all the blame. Of course you're going to take all the blame. You tried to get to penalties and you mugged us off. All right, that's it.
Is it done?
Uche, your boys did it. But before you start the chat, come on. After 2 minutes, you were shook. After that goal in, after 2 minutes, you were shook. You thought the game wasn't going to pan out the way you thought it was.
Let me just say, England played well for 5 minutes.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes.
First 5 minutes, it was outstanding.
Yeah.
But that's it.
That's it. Go on, over to you, Uche.
Anyway, first and foremost, commiseration to the real England fans listening, and obviously the passionate ones in this pod, right?
I wasn't even passionate. But you know what? Yesterday, I even felt like Arsenal had lost. That's the worst thing. But they're not getting my backing like that under Southgate again.
My personal take, and this is why I tried to be level, because, like, as you know, I was kind of neutral towards England. If they won, it's not the end of the world. But my opinion, I thought, yet again, I don't like to praise this dude to look like I'm sort of his fan, because I'm not, and I couldn't care less, to be honest. But I thought the tactics that he came out with was just shook up Italy. And what Ray was saying is, in the first 5-10 minutes, definitely 20, actually, I'll stretch it to 20 minutes. Italy were really confused as to what is actually going on that right-hand side. We don't know what Trippier is doing. We just don't know what he's doing. There's a lot of space there. And like you said, within the first 2 minutes, they scored. And that really annoyed me, because I wanted to see how Italy are going to, try and deal with this formation. And at that point, I was thinking, there's not many coaches, generally, honestly, in my entire life of watching football, in a tournament final, that I would expect I was going to go for a second goal. So I was like, this is the one thing that I'm going to hold on to, because there's just not many managers that are going to go, we've got them, let's go for the second goal. It just doesn't happen. Trust me, go through history, it just doesn't happen. So I just felt, keep it at 1-0. You're clearly confused, but these people are not going to come for 2-0. They're happy with the 1-0, try and figure this stuff out. If somehow he shocked me and he told them to go forward and try and pump the second goal, that would have been a mad one. But I wasn't expecting it. Once Italy then figured it out and started playing, which I expected them to dominate possession, nothing after that was a surprise. Absolutely nothing. One thing I would pick Mikey on is we talk a lot about, the team and this and that. But at the end of the day, Italy's goal initially finally came from a scrappy situation, which they wouldn't have planned. I wouldn't even call it a true creation. It was from a corner where someone flicked it on. And then after a very good save, where the guy was probably unlucky, could have come off the post and gone for a corner, for another corner, let's say. They were holding on. It was ugly. I've seen ugly games in the finals before. And I'm going to touch on this when I finish what I'm talking about, to present examples of such an ugly final with statistics that backs up what I'm about to say. And these people, don't forget, keep in mind, all of you rate these managers. So I don't want to hear any excuses when I start talking about this. So at the end of the day, when they now equalized, he had to change it. There's no question. That's what I expected for setting top manager who didn't equalize against and won the game. Didn't have to change it because he got away with it. But it's similar tactics, similar in terms of just give the ball to your position and try and see out the game. So for me, I'm not going to criticize Southgate too much. Did he play for penalties? Not for me. I said this to Rel when we went to watch the semi-final at Wembley against Spain. Mancini played for penalties. His players were tired. His players were out of legs. And again, last night, I felt Italy definitely played for penalties. There's no question in my mind about that. At a certain point, Chiesa had to go off injured. Insigne had to go off injured. They were just holding up. They were just basically just see this out. Let's go for penalties. Now, I don't know what great plan, but anybody who tells me they're going for penalties thinking they're going to win, they're delusional because there is just no way of guaranteeing that. And so it proved. Italy missed 2 penalties. Missing 2 penalties is never part of any plan, right? You just don't plan for that, yeah? Missing 2 penalties is actually pretty bad. Very, very bad normally. We normally leads to a loss in a penalty shootout, missing 2 penalties. So this idea of criticizing and constantly going after it, you can do that if you want. But for me, I just think he's over the top. He's completely over the top when you look at what actually occurred in the game. You shouldn't have missed 3 penalties. If you only missed 1 penalty, you almost certainly would have won that tie, and you would have been champions today.
But can I pick you up on that though, Uche? So the last time England did well in a major tournament was the World Cup, obviously, and then before that was '96, the Euro '96, where they had the home advantage. They were playing well in that tournament. The home advantage helped them get as far as they got. Yeah. In this situation, it's probably the best opportunity England will ever have in the rest of our lifetimes. Yeah. Maybe. Yeah. In terms of condition, environment, you've played nearly all your games at home. You've barely had to travel. Yep. You're at home in the final. You've got there's been a pandemic on. You've got 75,000 fans backing you. Mm-hmm. And then you play out to, at the end of the match, it was 65% possession to Italy. They had 19 shots on goal.
Okay.
After the first 5 minutes, we saw Maguire auditioning for a John Smith advert with his Abbott launching the ball.
John Smith lines, man.
After the first 5 minutes, and you're the home team, you've got the crowd, you've got the impetus of the crowd, you've got to go up. Surely you go and take that second, you go and chase that second goal. Not even chase it, but at least do a bit more than having having Harry Kane playing on the edge of his box. When they got the possession of Italy, they couldn't pass it out because there was no one to pass to because Harry Kane was standing next to his midfielders.
Yeah, like I said,
at the edge of England's box. So
like I said to you,
I can't see how you can't put some criticism towards Southgate.
No, I'll tell you what.
19 shots. England had 6 in the whole match. 120 minutes, Uche.
Okay. Let me. It's interesting you say that. So this now leads to my point, really. So thank you for saying that, right? You said it perfectly. Everything you said. Let's say you're right, okay? So this is a game that happened. You were there, I was there. So I've given it away, right? 16 shots by Spain, 7 shots by Italy, 4 shots on target each, 65% possession by Spain, right? 89% accuracy. Italy had 6%. These are very similar stats to England, by the way.
Very similar, yeah.
Very similar. Yep. Ran about the same number of miles, right? Committed the same amount of fouls, yeah? The bottom line is they held on. You and I know, and I told you when we were watching the stadium, that these guys are playing for penalties. And if he gets the penalties, I'm actually calm because I know that
okay.
Right?
But you'll say, but Italy played for penalty in that situation, but you're saying England didn't in the same situation.
No, I'm saying that Italy also. No, Italy played for penalties in both situations.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just telling you. That's what I'm seeing. I know what I was seeing was how to get when you start bringing this Belotti thing, and he's not coming there to do nothing. Trust me, he's not coming there to do anything. He just is sub for the sake of making sub. For example, another thing Mikey touched on already, and we already talked about it when we were together yesterday. The Cristante sub. It's a bad sub.
Didn't make any sense.
Didn't do anything. I mean, it was a bad sub. I mean, if we're going to criticize, be critical of everyone who's on there. It was a bad sub. Cristante was a bad sub. A bad substitution.
In terms of being critical, you're only really critical of the team that loses.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly. One day.
That's
so,
what this is exactly,
like,
Mikey.
They're absorbed with criticism.
Yeah. Exactly. And this is what got me interesting. Yeah, I just kind of was thinking about it. What else to say about today? And normally I don't mix it up, but I sort of thought there's another game which Real was very, very passionate about, which we also went together in Madrid, right? It was Liverpool against Spurs, right? I thought, do you know what? Let me look at the stats on that game. Guess what happened, Real, in the end?
Yeah, no, I said to you, it reminded me of that game.
60% possession by Spurs. Similar amount of double the amounts of pass committed and passes, yeah? One is a genius because he held on to 1-0, made a substitution, which was clearly, I don't think he was thinking, oh, Origi's coming on to score, whatever. But he banged and we won 2-0. Because like Mikey said, this is what happens in sports, yeah? The victor...
Uche, let me just drop one of your lines. I don't want to hear stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't want to hear stories.
Yeah.
Italy won, Liverpool won.
Yeah.
Italy won against Spain.
That's exactly.
England didn't win. So it's a story.
Yeah, which is why I said what I was going about.
Southgate should get it.
No, I'm saying that I'm like, I don't mind criticizing either way based on purely the result. But when we go into penalties, if we just focus just on penalties, let's even say he went for penalties. Yeah, let's just go with that. He went for penalties. Yeah. When Italy misses 2 penalties, that is terrible in a shootout with 5 takers. That is literally on the precipice of a disaster. Yeah. 2 misses in a 5 penalty shootout is on the precipice of a disaster for me. Maximum is 1. And even if you miss 1, there's a chance you've lost it. Yeah. They missed 2. And not only they missed, you actually got saved. So it's not even like a miss. He actually got saved. Yeah. So they've done their homework. I'm now reading about what this dude was doing. He's gone to training with his guys. He was taking videos. He's telling them practicing before Nations League and all this other stuff. So he had it all mapped out in case he went to penalties. Yeah. He even made a substitution to bring 2 specialist penalty takers in there to come and take it. What I'm trying to say is Italy were not great at penalty taking anyway. And I felt they played for penalties and they should be getting gone. But like you said, Mike, if we just want to go by pure results, they missed 2 penalties. England missed 3 penalties. But I do not think it's about plan. Jorginho tried to do the delay kick. Pickford said, I am not moving today. Yeah. And he saved it. It was a great save. That could have been, if they all put their penalties away, that could have been a penalty that takes you to takes you to win Euro 2020. And that's what I'm saying. That sometimes I'm looking back at everything today with a calmer head, and I'm thinking, actually, just as well, like, of course, someone has to win, but Italy also go away with it last time.
No, there's no. I'm not saying it's just Southgate that should get criticised, but like Mikey said, Mancini's team won and his didn't. And
the thing about Mancini, the reason I can't criticise him, is because he was making moves.
Yeah, he was.
Like sub. Like he wasn't playing about. If there was something he could do in his head to try and influence the game, he was trying to change the game.
Yeah.
Whereas Southgate was happy to just. It's throughout the tournament.
Yeah.
He's been happy just to let them play. He set them up defensively. And he's been happy to let them play. Even Ukraine. 1-0 at halftime. He was happy. And then it was just a blitz. And then happy to retreat again. It's just this negative frame set that Southgate has. And Southgate is a conservative manager, no matter what we say.
Absolutely. No question.
77, Italy only played for penalties after their flair players got injured, Uche.
Yeah, I agree with that. However, I also saw the same pattern when I went to watch them live. Obviously, it's a completely different opposition. They had to do what they had to do to survive. But I understand that. I also understand, yes, you're correct in that they only played for that when they're injured players. But what I'm saying is you don't get to replay this. You don't get a second chance. You don't get a second chance at glory. You're just surviving out here, right? You're really just trying to find a way to win the game. And that's what happens in final. People only remember the glory. And I just felt that, everything Mikey said, we all know he's not an attacking coach. But I've seen an attacking coach in Jurgen Klopp be defensive in the final because he did what he had to do to get through and win the game. And sometimes that's what you got to do.
I get your point on that,
he didn't set them up to go out defensively.
Exactly. And that's the point I was going to make, is that he said after the game, the way we played in that game wasn't how we intended to. It's just how it happened.
Yeah, it's
so
just
it
how it
wasn't, but the way Southgate set them up for this one seemed to be defensive. He changed the formation for Italy. I don't even know why that happened. I don't know why he changed it.
Problem for me, like I said the whole tournament. I said if England are gonna get here, it's gonna be the Greece model. Greece model is a very simple, very good model. It works, and you became champions. As far as I'm concerned, they're looking to win the game 1-0. And if you flop it, you flop it. You flopped it. Okay, criticize. I've got no problem with that. But I'm not gonna say I never once expected Southgate ever to go and switch attacking in the final. You know, that just
let's take away the fact that his ethos is defensive.
Yeah.
And his preference for his golden child, his stepson or love child, Mason Mount.
Yeah.
Like literally any minute he's available, he was playing.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so
he
you
did
set up the
nothing.
team defensively. Okay, fair play. You're going to set them up with wing backs, 3 at the back, 2 DMs. Put Saka in or somebody else as a runner to stretch.
Yeah.
Mount did nothing throughout every game. He did nothing.
No.
And yet, there's nothing in the papers about Mount's performances, you know.
But
I'm pretty sure
he said he
up like ratings of 7.
But because he's a defensive manager, I felt that, especially against England, I said this before the game kicked off, that he's definitely going to play Mount in this game because he would have seen what we saw against Spain in trying to make sure that Verratti and Jorginho don't get it going. And Mount is a sacrificial lamb.
But Mount wasn't doing anything.
He didn't do that. He didn't do it.
That went on them. Rice was killing them all.
Yeah, I know.
And
I'm
then
saying to you that from his standpoint, whether he's wrong, he could be wrong and criticized for that. That's a different story. But he's thinking, this is my boy. This is the guy that I can tell to do certain things, and he will do it. Right? Is his go-to guy?
This is what I'm saying. What is he telling him to do? Because he's in forward position. Like he's not playing in one of the DM roles, or even in a normal centre mid role.
Be a disruptor. Just to be useless.
He's playing as a cam or a winger. Yeah. He's had no assists. I don't even know if he's created a chance.
I honestly don't think he was even be put on there to do what you're asking. Because otherwise, you would pray. If you were a manager, if you were someone who wanted to do damage in that position, there's no question you play Grealish, you play Foden. If you wanted to cause serious damage to the opposition, that was never the Southgate plan. And for me, like I said, because I'm not charged about it, I wasn't really that bothered about it because I'm like, I know this is the Greece model. The Greece model to me was working all the way through, and I knew in the final it's gonna stop working because I said Italy will completely dominate possession. Personally, like Michael, I understand why the gunshots for Mikey. Don't think I forgot that. About the players and the Italian players. Yeah, absolutely. Immobile is just not the Immobile. And that's a problem for Italy. But Italy was always going to dominate the possession. But to be honest with you, again,
they weren't though.
It was calm, but I don't think Italy were like, banging shots and Pickford was saving loads of things. You know what I'm saying?
They weren't always going to dominate possession though. Because for half an hour, it was virtually 50-50. And this is where a manager needs to influence the game. Because England retreated, literally sat in and camped in their final third. And yes, they were comfortable. Yeah. But if you give a team possession for long enough, something is going to pop.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. But there's been finals where people didn't find a way. They tried.
Yeah, but if you extrapolate that and take it out of finals and into every game, the team that is usually
you lose.
There's a team that has 70% possession and a team's defending the edge of their box. Usually something is going to drop.
Absolutely. That I agree with. But like I said, I keep going back to it, like, because it's all about key moments. Yeah, the goal was kind of a very, very scrappy goal. It's not even planned. Flick it on. He had a head shot. He saved it. Comes out the post. Falls to Bonucci. That is actually the goal. So you could actually argue that this was actually working. They were getting frustrated. They had a lot of ball. But whenever these things happen and he goes to an equalizer, he'd be like, yeah, saw it coming. Of course you did, because they dominate possession. But actually, you could easily have seen it out. I mean, for example,
but Uche, wait, we were all watching it and we were all calling it from
including you, in
the game.
Okay, the reason why
I'm saying change the thing up.
Yeah, okay. So the reason why I say that specifically, and I keep going back to the Greece model, is because I remember Portugal trying to do a thing. They were at home. They're beating them in the group stage. It shocked the world the first time. They faced them in the final the second time. This time, you're in front again in front of your home fans. Same situation. You've got clearly, well, actually, it's not the same situation at all. It's actually worse. It's 100 times worse. You're playing a far inferior team in the final, right? The whole crowd is behind you. And guess what? They scored by the only shot of the game, aka England. And then you basically defended, and Portugal kept coming through everything they had at him. Couldn't get through. They won 1-0. They're champions of Europe, which is the Greece model I'm going to keep referring to. And I said that's what the ball was kicked.
This said Greece model. Houdini 77s brought up some kind of content about the Greece model.
Yeah,
because it's a different type of game. Greece scored in the second half. England scored after 2 minutes. You cannot defend for 88 minutes.
You can't.
Come on, man.
You can't. Okay. International football. It's not going to happen.
Okay,
and to be fair, it was the Greece model if England had scored after 45 minutes, because then they would have held out for the 1-0.
Yeah,
because it took Italy so long to score.
Would you say? Let's forget. Would you say it's much harder what Greece did, considering they're playing a far superior team in their home stadium, and they shocked the world twice? They beat them in the group stages, and they came and beat them.
But Uche, Greece thoroughly deserved that victory because they were the best organized team within that tournament. Nobody else did enough to beat them. Basically, nobody else did enough to beat them.
They couldn't find a way. England haven't been conceding goals. England haven't been conceding goals. It's not pretty.
Who have they been playing though?
What do you mean? Doesn't matter.
You know what I mean. Who have they been playing?
Of course I know. Oh. But Greece beat, I think Greece, because I remember watching this game. I was a child at the time. Did Greece beat Czech Republic with in the semi-final? It's like they didn't play. They didn't just win the lottery and get there either. Do you know what I'm saying? No, there are people that should have knocked them out. I don't think we should disrespect Greece. I don't think we should disrespect England.
I'm not disrespecting Greece. I thought they deserved to win that tournament, so I'm not disrespecting them at all.
Okay, so for me, England also deserved to win the tournament, but they couldn't hold on.
Bun Gareth Southgate. That's right.
Well, I understand. To be honest, I completely understand.
Wait, and another thing, Uche. Sorry, I'm sorry to keep interjecting. Greece did not have Sancho, Rashford, Grealish, Foden.
They played to their strengths.
The catalogue of players.
Yeah.
And they didn't select Mount in every game with these guys sitting on the bench.
But again, I'm not trying to say that I agree with the Greece model. I'm just saying that I saw the Greece model before a ball was kicked. I said England can do this if they use the Greece model. If England actually do what Mikey wants them to do, I personally, and I said this is why I never backed France personally, I personally felt you're going to get cocky here. You're going to think you're actually better than you actually think you are. You've never reached the stage before. England have never reached the stage before. So there was nothing in their radar that would tell me, oh, come and play, Sancho's and the Grealish, and you're going to bang,
but at least play one of them. Take out this Mount dude.
Man.
Give an additional attacking threat. Somebody that is going to carry the ball, somebody that has pace, somebody that will cause whichever defender it is not to think they can just bomb on.
Yeah.
Because Mount offered nothing.
In either direction.
Mount. Yeah. He wasn't defending. He wasn't on Verratti and what's his name? Jorginho.
Yeah.
Because Phillips was trying to get about, but was horrible again. But Rice was crazy good in that game. And he got subbed.
Yeah.
Another decision that just didn't make sense.
Yeah, and unfortunately for him, the Henderson swap didn't work. But like I said again, I know it's the loser side, but Cristante was there for a long time, and he was to me he was a problem. I don't understand that substitution, but he got away with it. They're champions. Everything is all well, but for me, I just think it's a bit harsh. But I don't want to come across as a Southgate fan, please. I keep up to say that because I am not. I'm just saying I saw this coming. I don't back it per se, but I knew it could work, and it nearly worked even in the final. Now, penalties. I keep going back to it. Italy were fortunate, man. There's just no other way around this. I'm sorry. It's like you can't miss 2 penalties and tell me that that's part of the plan. That's not part of any plan. If Italy banged in 4 and 1, if they're banging 3, first 3 and these guys were missed, then fine. But they didn't. They missed 2 penalties. That's not part of any plan. Stop having any plan at all. They got lucky as well. You know what I'm saying? You guys shouldn't have mystery. Like Rashford, what we said it already. He basically just all he had to could have gone down the middle because the keeper was sitting down by the time he came to strike the ball. Just get it on target, and it would have been a goal. So for me, even if you did play for penalties and we're just focusing purely on penalties, but we all know my view. We all said that we don't need. We can repeat on the pod as well, but we all know that fifth penalty take is a joke. But
well, let's talk about that, Uche. Let's talk about that. So
crazy to me.
one of the many things that Southgate can be criticised for is the penalty take. Not only the penalty takers, but the order in which they were taken. So apparently, Southgate has said that the penalty takers were decided based on who had done well in training. Fine. Somehow he managed to pick Saka to go as the fifth penalty taker when he's never taken a penalty for Arsenal in his career. He's only 19 years old. It turned out to be the decisive penalty. Mikey, I know you're not a very big fan of Southgate.
Listen, it's a catalogue.
Can you, in fact, open question to both of you. Can any one of you make sense of how Saka managed to be chosen as a fifth penalty taker?
No, I don't think any one of us can. And to be fair, if he picks Saka as a penalty taker, fair enough. But even that is kind of like, where's Grealish? Yeah, Raheem's got a pretty bad record recently, so you might not want to go to him in a pressurized situation, although Raheem's like the English player of the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Shaw, who takes every free kick, and yet he's not in the five to take a penalty. And then you've taken off Trippier, you've taken off Rice, you've taken off Mount. Three guys that would have taken a penalty. What's in your thinking here? I don't understand the logic behind a catalogue of errors of decisions. And then you culminate it in the order of the penalty takers. Because really, surely you bookend it. Kane and Rashford are the two experienced penalty takers.
Mm-hmm.
You have one at the beginning, one at the end. I don't care where it is, which one it is. But in my thinking, you always have a strong penalty taker at either end. You want to open up good. And if there's a decisive penalty to keep you in it or win it, you want someone there that's been there and done it before. Put Saka in the middle.
Yep.
He put Saka at 5. It's ridiculous. And even if you put Saka at 4 and Sancho at 5, it makes more sense. Sancho's output far outweighs Saka. In my head, when I'm seeing Saka come up, I'm thinking, I wouldn't want him to step up for Arsenal to be taking a penalty. He's not a player that I would think out of the Arsenal 11, and that's nearly any 11, that would think, okay, yes, Saka's going to take the pen. Like, it just doesn't come to mind
as well. Yeah.
Like, in fact, we've had a few penalty shootouts. Has he not been on the pitch? Because I remember Maitland-Niles like coming and banging top corner, and I still can't remember Saka having taken a penalty. So I don't know how he's kind of he may have been off the pitch, so somebody can fact check me here. I don't care. Saka's managed to transgress that, and now he's taking a penalty in the European Championship final for England, yeah? The deciding penalty, number 5. No, sorry, it's not happening. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I find the whole thing just quite sad. I don't understand how a manager that went through the turmoil of a penalty shootout himself could end up with that decision. It makes it even more baffling for me, because the guy is so young that you just can't. You shouldn't do that. Even if you wanted to, it doesn't matter what he says. If you're the decision maker, you should be saying, no, if you want to take it and you're confident, I've seen you in training, all of that, you're composed, all of that, it's great, blah, 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 you're one of the 5, then you should be taking maybe 2nd, 3rd or 4th or whatever, but not the 5th one. It's just to me, just weird. You know, you're picturing the guy potentially scoring the winning goal. That's a lot of pressure for a young kid. And you know, it's just really strange to me. But for me, I just think that there's certain people in that team, and Mikey has reeled them off. I just think he just tells me everything you need to know about these people. Whether you want to take the penalty, you don't want to take the penalty. The bottom line is, you're sitting there, you're doing whatever. They must have been going through the drills and whatever. You're clearly, like Mikey said, the top 2, probably Trippier and Mount, are probably your top 5. So you're not actually in the top 5. So that means you're not even 6th or 7th then. So big man like Grealish that's doing techies for days and instant tweeting every 10 seconds, right? What's up, man? I mean, I thought you were a bad man. What's going on? Why can't you say to how are you gonna sit there and tell me Maguire? Clearly, Maguire is gonna be a big man. He's gonna say, I'm taking penalties, end of story. Why can't you be one of those guys that's gonna say, I'm taking a penalty? You know, just make it from the up and one of the penalty takers.
This Grealish thing has got to stop. I get it. You don't like De Bruyne, don't like Grealish. There's a particular type of player that you don't like. No. That's not the line I'm going down.
I'm not going to let you do that.
The Grealish thing, though, how penalty shootouts work. And Gareth, we have to believe what this idiot has come out and said. And he said that it was completely his responsibility. He picked them, and you reeled off the criteria that he used as well. Yeah. So Grealish saying, I want to take a penalty meant nothing to Gareth. Grealish is the same player that came on and got subbed.
Yeah.
Gareth Southgate does not care about Grealish.
Yes, but what I'm saying...
He doesn't care about the flair. He doesn't care about the talent. He doesn't care that he's confident.
But is it...
What he cares about is his statistics that he saw in training.
And that's what I'm saying. That's my point. My point is, there's a reason why Sancho was coming on, correct? He must be doing something during whatever drill they're doing over there. I mean, I don't believe it.
Even then, I mean, it goes back to Southgate should know better. He should know better. And I understand that they've been practicing and blah, blah, blah. But anyone can bang penalties when there's no pressure. Yeah, anyone can do it. Yeah. Anyone. Yeah. So if somebody says to you on the day, I'm ready to take a pen, and you say, nah, I'm going to give it to a 19-year-old who's never taken a pen. Does that make it? It doesn't. I can't get my head around how that makes any sense. In the biggest game, or any of these players are probably going to play in the rest of their international careers.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Grealish says he told Southgate he wanted to take a pen. That's what Grealish says. I don't know if that's true or whatever. But if somebody steps up on the day and says, I'm ready to do it, you let him do it, surely.
Just jumping on this.
They've picked. What I'm trying to say to you is that picture it, right? They've clearly done lots of drills. I don't agree with that.
Drills, I can't have that.
Like I told you, I think it's a bit funny to me. However, they've done it, and I'm saying in that drill, man like Grealish is clearly not coming out at the top 5. Clearly not the top 7. Yeah, Saka clearly is somewhere in around
but you know what? Let me jump on that. That drill, is in an unpressurized environment.
Yep.
I'm not for the drill.
So what do you then need to do? You need to factor in,
pressure.
Who is the guy with the confidence?
Absolutely.
And Saka, he's kind of water off whatever the phrase is. He's gone out there. He's not phased.
Yeah.
He's doing his thing.
Yeah.
But come on, Grealish is ultra confident.
Yes.
It's not like beat around the bush. Of all people to know.
Oh wait, Michael, just before you finish that on Grealish. He said that he loved. I've seen an interview where he says, "If people expect something of me, then I love that pressure. I love it." We rate people like CR7 for having that kind of mentality. Absolutely. If Grealish is that same kind of character, let him take it. Sorry, Mikey, go on.
Yeah.
And the type of character, Gareth Southgate should know exactly what the deal is.
Yeah.
Why was he stepping up to take a penalty?
Yeah.
When he missed.
Ooh,
so he should know. He knows the pressure that comes on.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's going to pick a 19-year-old that's never taken a professional penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree.
Ahead of somebody that is a baller that is saying, let me be this guy. Like, I want to be the guy for England. Grealish hasn't kind of been quiet about it. He's been saying, when it comes to the crux, I want to be the guy that's making a difference.
Yeah.
He's big and bossy.
Yeah.
And so he has every right to come out and say, I wanted to take a penalty. This is Gareth's fault. Because the way I see it, this is like some civilization from this dead manager that wants to play so defensive, and that we might not see one of the greatest British talents in years actually play for England properly. Well, Grealish should be in that number 10 or attacking role without a doubt.
This is where
he does not like him because he prefers the robot.
Yeah, but this is where we part ways on this, loving England players or that. I'm not.
It's not loving. Trust me, it's a different type of player.
Well, the reason why I'm not feeling on them is because I saw England have Beckham, Scholes, Gerrard, Lampard in front of my face, Owen, Shearer, this and that, and I heard all this stuff. Yeah, the referee blows the whistle and say, "Let's play football," and I'm seeing shooksters all over the gaff, and I kind of saw the same thing again. So even if we change manager, even if they change manager and they give it to someone, whoever you rate,
not changing.
I see the same thing anyway. Sorry,
he's not changing. He's going to be there.
Because he's done well. He's done well. The Greece model works, man. It's really got relaxed.
You don't know why not. Fast forward this thing.
But it does.
Bigger. Yeah, that's exactly what the case should be. He should be in the middle, somewhere where there's a retrievable situation if something goes wrong, and that you're not the kind of final guy.
You're not piling
on the penalty spot.
Yeah.
After your nation has lost.
Well, exactly. Again, they did all this drill, and this is why the problem with everything. That's why I find it very surprising. Southgate clearly saw it as a problem solver. He thought he could solve it by continuous. Well, the psychologists against it would say that if you continue to practice all this thing, that eventually becomes second nature. But obviously, we know that's quite difficult in real life, right? But he tried to apply a method, right? He tried to apply some sort of method, a scientific method, if you like.
The method was faulty because he had the method and he subbed 3 of the guys that were in the method. So Saka wasn't supposed to be taking a penalty at all.
Well, then
it comes down to a day situation.
Okay.
Because if we say that Trippier and Mount, in fact, we don't need to say they were definitely penalty takers. We know Trippier. We know Mount is love child. He has to be in there.
Yeah.
Pretty confident Rice would have been in there.
Yeah, probably.
You had the 3 in. Where was Saka in the list? So in terms of like the pre-tournament or pre-game routine, and you're working the formula, you got the algebra out. That piece. Then you come to the game and you remove X, Y, and Z from your formula. The formula's crushed.
Yeah.
And then you make a game day situation. So he's made this decision on the day to put Saka number 5. This isn't pre-planned. Like, that's what I'm saying. It couldn't because you couldn't have had a scenario in your head where you think, I'm going to take off 3 of my penalty takers.
Yeah, because you don't know if you're going to go to penalties, right? So you always trying to have a backup plan, even though the backup plan is flopped. So we knew that he was never going to take off Kane and Rashford was going to come on, right? My problem anyway, honestly, I'm not trying to, again, I don't want to feel like I'm defending this joker. Well, it sounds like I keep defending him.
You are defending him. That's what you do.
No. Let's go with the 4. Let's forget the Saka. Let's imagine we did not see Saka, right? Because you wouldn't have seen Saka, what I'm about to say, right? Sancho and Rashford was brought on to bank, yeah? You're the man, blah, blah, blah. Rashford, like Mikey said, you're the, back bookend it, blah, blah. At this particular point in time, it's set for you, right? You bang your 4 penalties, you become champions of Europe. There's no doubt about it.
Uche.
Just as simple as that, yeah.
Stories.
It's that easy.
I don't want to hear stories. Stop it.
It's that easy, yeah? Come on. You barely played all tournament. You come on with 1 minute. You've not even touched the ball. You're going to win the championship for your country.
I said it at the time. To come on cold, and the first time they're going to kick a ball is a flipping European Championship final penalty.
Because Rashford's
technique. Ex-pros have come out today and said,
well, Rashford's technique was
mad.
I mean, Sancho's one was...
Rashford did everything right.
Yeah.
Except for the execution.
Yeah, execution.
If he was warm, maybe it wouldn't have been a problem. Yeah. Sancho was too casual. You said he was going to be casual.
Yeah.
I'd seen some of his
that's one of my biggest
training.
Yeah.
I'd seen some of his training flips.
I mean, basically, he's trying to say, the way Sancho tries to approach football, even when I'm watching for Dortmund, he's like saying, I feel so calm in every situation.
Which is good.
Which is good, yeah. But when it goes wrong, I was just like, this is what will annoy me as a fan, because I'm like, you're too calm. You're either going to come there and you're going to, put it in top bin and just smash the hell out of the ball, which, funnily enough, goes back to the guy that actually did miss, because I was watching him at Wembley. And I said, that's the only thing he's done in the tournament that I rated, Belotti. Like, he absolutely just said, okay, if you're going to save it, I'm going to put the keeper inside the back of the net. And then against friggin' Pickford, he's trying to get too smart because he's thinking, you probably watch that and you think I'm going to go. I said, nah, mate, trust yourself to bang it as hard as you can. If he saves it, let him say. Doing this side foot thing is such an easy it's such an easy save for the referee when you do that side foot. Wrap your foot around it and then see go for it.
That's the thing, yeah. I've taken lots of penalties, yeah. I used to do the open side foot into the right hand side. You know, the side that Sancho went.
Yeah.
And I used to put it away all the time. And then there was one time the keeper just walked across and saved it.
Yeah.
I was like,
your brain. Yeah.
After that, every time it was wrapped around.
Yeah.
Wrapped around. Because it gives the keeper almost no chance. If you hit it, the keeper's going to have to pull out a worldie to
Absolutely. Like you said, of course, in the penalty shootout, you can't do the rebound. But normally, even he does save it, because the shot is so hard, you're going to get a rebound most probably. You can't keep it on him. But I understand. But for me, like I said, I know you guys can say his story, but for me, I obviously don't back the Saka decision. But you got 4 takers who are messing up. And if they didn't mess up, they would be champions of Europe right now. And you guys would have been out in Trafalgar Square having a great time. But I did tell you that he was coming to Rome for days. I've been saying this for very, very calm manner that this is coming to Rome. You know,
he wasn't calm in the match, Uche. Allow it.
Hey, we got footage. Let's stop this.
Allow it. The guy was depressed. It was just like this. It was just like this for most of the match.
Comatose. Mr. Tricks makes a good point in the comments as well. And that the psychology of it, where Rashford has missed and then Sancho's going up. If Rashford scored and Sancho goes up, it's a different feeling, isn't it? So maybe Sancho was feeling
more pressure.
After a miss, it's kind of like, oh damn, like I was calm. Now suddenly it's Rashford's missed.
But then at the same time, when I looked at the sequence again, and like I said, Belotti messed it up. He must think I want to have that back. And I was watching at what Benedeschi was going to do, because we saw it at Wembley, him actually put in top bins. He clearly decided he's going to wait. And he waited. I think you were screaming, Mike, when it happened, when he just about waited for Pickford to move and he went through the middle. So some people are actually capable of, keeping this mad pressure that's in the game and somehow still applying some sort of logic to it. And some people just can't do it. But I say, Jorginho was the crazy one. If someone told me, and I was very confident as the clips will show, I thought it was over. I thought he was going to do the step. The guy's going to dive. And Pickford just wasn't having it. Maybe because he thought, I've got nothing to lose anyway. We're going to lose. I am not moving. And he still tried to put it in the corner. But at that time, there was no power in it. And it was a great save. Well, I think, England could have easily been champions from just on the penalties. But, there's no question that Italy dominated the game, as I expected. And as I put in my bet started pouring in. Certain people who are watching contributed to the Italy fund, which I thank you all very much.
Name names.
I'd like to end this on saying Italy are still rubbish. Hey! Unbelievable. This is like, they won it.
It's not backed by the facts, though. I mean, you're talking about pass completion.
Spain outplayed them.
Absolutely.
Like completely.
No question. And I expected Spain to outplay anybody when it comes to the possession game, but Spain did not make it to the final.
You guys kept talking this Italy up, and then I didn't see anything against Spain
because unfortunately, like you rightly said, like you rightly said, unfortunately, it's not a complete. This was never meant to be a complete Italian side, right? There's still things missing. One of the biggest things, which you're now talking about, which can never be underestimated in any shape or form, is that they lost one of the best players at the tournament who got a massive, terrible injury in Spinazzola. And it's funny you're talking about, I completely not get you where you're coming from, Mikey, because you didn't start watching it too late. But there's no way Spinazzola versus Emerson is not even a comparison.
Mate, Emerson, that guy. So I don't know how Italy have not found a better left back than Emerson.
Because there's no plan. He was meant to be a backup, and sometimes with backup,
even a backup, man. Jeez. That guy is waste of time.
Waste of space, yeah. But for me, Spinazzola was going at it. He was dribbling. He was trying to the ball. He was asking questions. He was doing overlaps. There was a lot of things. So, when you miss a player like that, this is what I'm talking about, the whole character, right? When you miss a player of that magnitude, it was clearly their top 3 player in the tournament. That should be devastating. And somehow they survived the onslaught by Spain and even a very ugly final, in my opinion. And then they won it. But I think you shouldn't underestimate that. But Immobile was always a problem throughout the tournament. I mean, it is what it is. They don't have another striker. He's Immobile. He put in Belotti is not the answer. So they're not complete. They've done more than expected. Personally, I thought semi-final, but then I backed it to go all the way. That's why I put the each way bet on. But also, I thought England did extremely fantastic. In fact, I'm giving, personally, again, he's going to think I'm mocking when I say this, but I'm being very generous. I am giving England a 10 out of 10 for this tournament.
You're an idiot.
You're mocking it.
Don't do that.
No.
There's no need.
No.
There's no need with your pity praise. We don't need it, Uche.
Is there a way I can mute him?
They exceeded all expectation. You cannot tell me, even with all your...
to be honest, not for me. But anyway.
Southgate, you cannot tell me you expected that is England to be in the final. No way.
Wait.
I thought they had a good chance because they're at home.
Okay, Mike, you ready, yeah? Did you bet on England to win?
What was my prediction?
Thank you. I might ask bro. Ask bro.
Who be? What?
Yeah, you.
No, what was mine?
What'd you bet on?
One at a time. What's the question? Who's asking? Who's answering?
No, I'm asking you a question. Who did you bet on? You had 2 bets to win this tournament. Who were they?
Italy.
Thank you.
Germany.
Thank you.
And the reason why I didn't wait. No. The reason why you asked me a question, I'm answering it. The reason why I didn't bet on England is because they were favourites, and that weren't favourable enough for me. So that was it. That was all. But I thought they had a good chance of getting to the final. Honestly, I didn't because the odds weren't good enough.
Right. Okay.
Now back to my predictions.
Yes.
Who did I predict to be in the final?
France and England, I think.
Yeah,
correct.
France
and England.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you did.
I had France number 1 and England number 2.
Yeah.
So I couldn't see England not getting there, and if they didn't get there, it would have been someone like Germany.
Yeah,
who would have turned up. But which is why I had them as number 3 because.
So you were saying. So this is why.
This is where Southgate. He hasn't done anything much.
What do you mean?
I expected England to be in the final. I said it pre-tournament.
He beat one of your biggest rivals, Germany, in like how many years you've gone?
Right, Germany team, man.
Yes, and as I said, that's why I had Germany as number 3 because I'd mapped it out.
Yeah,
and the way that I thought that it would work out.
So then give props in it.
France flopped the thing. Yeah, because France should have been there on the other side as well.
Yeah, well, I knew they would flop the thing, but
like 3-1 up and they bottled it. So
yeah. I knew they'll flop it anyway. I'm not really surprised.
Anyway, let's forget France. But just back to the point, I predicted England final.
Yeah, okay.
So there were people out there that clearly thought England could do it.
And they were favourites. Pre-tournament,
I didn't expect them to be favourites.
Yeah, but they always book a favourite because of in this country, people put a lot of money. So bookies withdraw and back out a little bit. So, especially in the European Championship.
Anyway, what's on the agenda? Because this defensive England that is managed.
I just want you to just own up and give Southgate his props. For me,
no. Uche, there's a comment. There's a comment from Fabuloso. What mockery from Uche after collecting money for Italy fund? Exactly. Stop mocking it, Uche. We don't need your pity.
If you see how I was reeling them in from all angles, the only thing I was missing was people like people like Mikey, I don't know why, and Craig, they just weren't responding. They weren't even interested in this bet. So I was like trying to reel them in. I'm like, I'm going to reach that.
The problem is with international football, as you see, Italy make finals.
Yeah.
And when I said Germany make finals as well. So as bad as a team that they could possibly have,
they know how to do it.
Like, there's a good probability that they're going to be in the semi-final and possibly final. So I'm never betting against Italy or even Germany. Germany can come in with a rubbish team. If someone wants to bet team on team, I'm not doing it.
Yeah. No, you make a good point because the only reason I started to really back them was I looked at the unbeaten run, which obviously I didn't watch the games because, I was thinking all this stuff. But as the tournament got closer to kickoff, I'm like, bro, these people haven't lost in a long time, yeah? And this manager, it seems to be on a thing, and he likes to take the game to the opposition, which is, again, I know what you're saying, but Italy are so different to the previous Italy that I've ever watched, for me anyway, like completely different. They don't do that holding onto the ball. They don't do that defensive stuff no more. Actually, I don't think they're even good at it. So what Mikey did, that's a bit I kind of agree with you that if you had an attacking manager and you say, Rago, you know what, yeah? You guys have got 2 slow centre backs. We're going to go for you, yeah? Maybe something could have happened. So I kind of see that angle because actually, I still believe Italy's biggest weakness, which is what they protected very well by having the 3 midfielders, is the two centre back, because if you have ridiculous pace running at them, they're either going to have to foul you or they have to let you go and bang, because they can't do anything else at this stage in their career. Because I've seen it at Juventus time and time again.
That goes well into the question, bro.
Yeah. So obviously Italy are now European champions. We've got the Qatar World Cup coming up next year. So I'm going to start with you, Uche, and ask you, what do you think is next for Italy? Do you think they're going to be able to do something in the World Cup next year?
The only way Italy can progress is between now and Qatar. They need to find an answer for the number 9 position, because it's dreadful. And so they have to find it. It's either that or Immobile finds form, but pretty much Immobile has gone back to the Immobile I saw a little bit at Dortmund, who briefly was at Juventus, who just doesn't do anything, can't even control the football, doesn't know what he's doing, is lacking confidence in his game, and it's just so if you don't get that number 9, and Belotti is not your answer. So it's either you get your Moise Kean or somebody else.
Why wasn't he selected?
Because Moise Kean is Moise Kean. He hasn't. It's not on it. It's not doing the job. He's not.
No, he's done okay for PSG.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not. It's like he's no longer actually not the person that he should be. Really, it's the one that is actually there, which I cannot stand. I can't even believe I'm saying it.
What, does he qualify?
Icardi.
Does he? Italy.
Well, I think has he turned to Argentina now or something?
I thought he was Argentina.
Yeah, has he
Argentina?
He's finally switched. Yeah.
I swear he's played for Argentina.
Yeah, so that was it. He's probably the only. That's a number 9. That's a number 9. That's the guy. That's the kind of guy that Mancini needs. But right now, unfortunately, I think he probably will be Immobile, because someone needs to start banging that number 9 position and take over. So maybe Moise Kean will be that guy. But Italy are set, man. They are truly set, because it's gonna be the same back 4. Spinazzola.
You think they're set with them old timers at centre back?
Yeah, because I think
a year older.
Another year and a half. Actually,
it's only what? How many more months? They're gonna go with them.
End of next year, isn't it?
Yeah, they're gonna go with them. Whether that's detrimental to them, I'm with Mikey. They've literally reached the end. Like literally, it can't go anymore, and can't get to the end of an end. You know what I'm saying? But I generally think that probably will hold on too long, which is why I don't really. They had to do it this way, because it's difficult for this Acerbi or Bastoni and these kind of people. Like Italy always goes back to the experience at the back, and for me, I don't think Spinazzola. Maybe it's long enough, but Spinazzola has to come back to that team. I wasn't impressed with the Di Lorenzo. I think he did okay, considering he hasn't had that much experience. Maybe he will get better. But the back 5 is okay, because you have a very good keeper. The 3 midfielders will definitely stay. That's the problem. But I think if they can sort out the number 9 and get somebody else who can hopefully at least trouble Insigne. I'm not really happy with Insigne's game, personally. I think he does too many same tricks a lot of the time. I think they need another person in there. But the number 9 is the key. If they get a number 9, then I start having, confidence. But for me, for what I saw in this tournament, is Spain get a striker. I don't care who he is, just some human being somewhere who knows how to score.
That's not Morata.
15 league goals, yeah. Bro, it's a wrap, because to me, what they did in this tournament, I do not see why they cannot repeat it in the next tournament. I hate to say it, I hate to admit it, but they tortured Italy in that semi-final, man. They tortured their possession there. They need someone who can spread, basically make you run in behind and cause problems. So I actually think Spain are probably more of a favorite. And in terms of the South Americans, trust me, it'd be a shock if they do anything, because Messi's had his little trophy the other day. Good.
Yeah, little trophy, yeah.
Well, it is a little trophy, because no one talks about Copa America until Messi couldn't do the thing for many years. But
all right, this is not a Messi dissing session. Mikey, I'll pose you the same question in relation to England and Qatar next.
Just on the Italy thing, Abukonade is trolling in the thread. He's saying that Balotelli needs to be called back. Balotelli doesn't have a club team, does he?
He just joined I forgot the Turkish team.
Yeah, doesn't matter. That's why Balotelli is not going to be there.
Nah.
DK fans are Di Natale. Is he still of age to play football?
He's mocking it. He's done, man. He's
I thought he was like retired.
Udinese done. It's done. He's just mocking it.
So, yeah. What's next for England?
Yeah. Southgate's going to get a knighthood. So
he better not. More of the same. It's going to be a bore thing unless Southgate gets a brain transplant, or there's like, I don't know. The thing is, going into this tournament, Grealish played against Belgium, and was the player of the man of the match. Like, was running things, and Grealish's injury then impacted him being in the friendlies, and then the public clamour for Grealish being in the starting 11 wasn't as vociferous as it was after the Belgium game. And so it almost allowed Southgate some breathing space to be like, get my stepson to play. And with Foden, he should be a fixture. So a year on, we're talking about Foden. Grealish should make a move. Hopefully he goes to City. But yeah, let's say Grealish goes City. Foden's got another year. City will win a couple of trophies or whatever. Foden will be instrumental in that. So those two, you would have to say, should be in the England team. Kane is probably untouchable until he retires. Unfortunately, Kane's a great player, so I'm not going to really rubbish him. Like, he can do bits, but when he's tired or when he's out of form, he just shouldn't be playing. And that's an issue.
Playing with 10 men, isn't it?
Yeah. This whole 2 DM thing, it's like, if you got 2 DMs, make sure that they can ball. Phillips can't ball. Rice showed in the final. Rice stepped up in the final. Whatever anyone says. Before the final, some guys were trying to tell me Rice was stiff. Rice doesn't do this. Rice doesn't do that. Rice was skipping past players, step overs, inside, outside, and he was finding a pass. So Rice, and he's young as well. Rice will be there. Phillips, I don't expect to be there. He'll probably be in a squad, but I'd be very surprised if he's a starting 11 player. I think that he was fortunate in timing.
Definitely.
And I think that in time, if the stepson is in the team, he will be in the position that I said he should have been in at the start of this tournament. And that will be in a deeper midfield role. Because if he's there and he's not giving the output, then he's not going to be frowned upon by me as much. Because he'll still put his foot in. He can do what Phillips was doing. Let's not mess around.
And
he can get about the pitch.
Yeah.
He can
and
put
he's
a
got
foot
better,
in. And he can also
range.
pass.
Yeah.
So he can do the Phillips role. So if Stepson has to be there, cool. He'll play alongside Rice. And then we'll have Grealish in a 10. And I'm discounting Saka here. But it all depends on what formation the guy plays. Because Saka will go on again this season. Even if Arsenal are rubbish, Saka will still put in his performances because it's what he does. He just turns up and he just plays. Raheem is a question mark. As a Premier League season, Raheem was getting rubbished. Going into the tournament, Raheem was getting rubbished. People are trying to say Raheem shouldn't play. People didn't have Raheem in their starting 11s for England, which was mad. Because if you see what the guy can do, and he's shown it in the tournament, thankfully, and we'll get on to another decision that was made in this tournament, not by Gareth, but the organisers. Yeah, whatever. And the defence is taking shape because Stones and Maguire will be there, and they were okay. Stones has his moments where he looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, but Maguire generally, other than the Abbott moments, was pretty solid. He does kind of get a bit mad and clumsy and clatters into a player. Giving free kicks away on the edge of the box isn't clever in international football. The fullbacks, Shaw, immense, looking better and better. Walker won't probably be there because there were doubts that Walker would be there this tournament, which means there's a chance that Trent could be there. Although he doesn't like Trent because Trent's a bit too flary, like Grealish. Like, we can't have these good players there. Let's have solid, dependable. So it will be James probably. Or does Wan-Bissaka get a look in suddenly? because he's the defensive mode that Southgate should be looking at in terms of a solid fullback, which a winger's going to struggle to get past.
Yeah.
So there are lots of different variables. But do you know what? England have got a lot of players that they can choose from. And when we compare England and the players that I think they can choose from, and then we've got Italy, it's like, come on. Italy have got a select amount of players, and they did the thing.
Yeah.
England have got probably like 1 or 2 more players per position than Italy have.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So it's the utilization and management.
That could end up being a problem because, like you say, under this manager, I don't really see it changing. Like I don't see it ever changing. Like before the tournament, I know about your team, the way you like to play. I'm just like, well, I could talk about the way you like to play all day. He's never gonna play that. So I'm just like, why? It's just
the only thing is that Mount thing. If that happens, if that change happens, then
somehow yeah. Well, my biggest problem in England has always been the same, and it's until someone tells me, I'm pretty sure it has never changed since I've been alive. I have never watched a tournament with England and thought, do you know what? These guys are balling.
Euro 96?
Euro 96.
No, not for me.
Wait, what? When they beat Holland 4-1?
Yeah, okay. That's a group game. I'm talking about, when you get to knockouts, yeah? And these edgy moments where, okay, couldn't quite do it. And you're thinking, forget, I know that it's all about the results, but sometimes just thinking, wow, there was so many periods in that game yesterday where I just thought, do you know what? You guys are an embarrassment. You're actually an embarrassment. Like, you are literally the epitome of the John Smith advert. It's a joke how bad all of you are. I'm talking about almost every single one of you. I mean, what I'm asking for is not difficult. It's talk about find your own players, alleviate pressure. No, I want it. No, give it to me. No, I'm telling you, give me that ball. No, give it to me. Like with Modric that's why I like this dude. I would love to see him. And I'm surprised Mike didn't mention it. This Bellingham kid. I'm hoping he's not one of those kids.
Yeah, apologies.
No. Enough of this stuff, yeah? Enough of this English stuff. I don't care what he said in the sideline. Give me that ball. I'll do something.
That's why Phillips is gone, because you mentioned Bellingham. Bellingham is the guy.
That guy, yeah. And I always say every tournament, I want to see that, just literally, it could be for 5 minutes, yeah? Where you just like, you could see, okay, this guy is kind of negative manager, but give me that ball, I'll protect it. Almost like a Wijnaldum type thing. You know what I'm talking about, Real, where you kind of use the body to shield the ball and you get a few free kicks and you hold on and people like that, wow, that was a good play. And then you get confidence from that. The players that can't ball. The problem I have is the thing I saw with Maguire, you're meant to be this ball playing, so you tell us, right? You're meant to be this ball playing centre back. Stones, you're meant to be this ball playing centre back. Okay, both of you are playing. You were just launching it. Like, what's going on? Aren't you not meant to do something with the ball? Like, try and hold it, pass it to each other, give the people breathing space. Why are you launching it when you know it's going to come back?
Not wanting to go back to this idiot, but England came out after half time and played worse. And the tactics didn't change and the players' attitudes didn't change. And what they were doing with the ball didn't change. It was still John Smith. So what was Gareth telling them at half time? He weren't telling them, don't launch it, don't kick it out. We don't do John Smith out here.
Yeah.
He was saying, be safe.
Yeah. Well, one thing is, Mikey, that to be fair to him, I've seen this so many times over the years. And, someone just put in Uche Italian 90. And I've seen that's how far back you're going. You're going to Italian 90. And that's my point, really. Do you know how far back we've gone with the Premier League and more technical players, fitter players, best league in the world players, all of that accolade that people love to use during the pub arguments and big up England and all that. Okay. And I'm like, okay, the game has started now. Let me see this current situation we're in. Are you playing? Can you play ball? And I just thought, honestly, look back on that game, I just thought it was a disgraceful situation, which I've seen so many times. I just thought, here we go again with England, hoping, begging it. He can't play this game at the highest level when it matters. Spain, for example, this kid, Pedri, and who else they had in midfield. Trust me, we don't even remember these guys. They're not even the Xavis and the Iniestas of the world, yeah? But look at the way they're balling in this tournament. And they had no striker. That's what I'm talking about. If England wants to be this thing that people want to talk about and look to emulate for kids. You know, when England wins the tournament, they say, I want to be like that guy. Let it be that we see the Bellinghams and these guys who are playing football who can say, no, give me that ball. Let me show you something. The Modric's, the people who are actually balling, you know, and every time England was less the people that. It was a disgraceful situation. And I don't think it's just down to the coaching. Sometimes you got to say, you know, forget this coach. Let's play football. And I don't see that enough. I'm sorry. I'm still waiting. It's still not happening.
I know we got to move on. Just one last thing. There are complaints about development of players and the types of players coming through. Then you have the development and they're coming through. And then suddenly you don't play them when they're developing. So fun Gareth Southgate.
The thing is that some of these players have won international tournaments before, Foden and others, and they've played the way that Uche's talked about, and they've gone into the senior team, and then they're not allowed to play. But anyway, we're coming up to the end of the show. We've got a couple more things we want to talk about quickly, and then we'll do our highlights of the week. So, Uche, who is your player of the tournament?
I think it has to be Raheem. For me, purely because of how he was able to influence when it matters in the knockout situation of the game. You know, so I have to judge it through the whole tournament. Otherwise, the guy I initially went for, years I would have been my guy, but I couldn't do that because I felt he wasn't in the starting 11 at the start of the tournament. So I think just based on his production, Raheem Sterling is my
Raheem Sterling. Okay. And who's your young player of the tournament?
Unfortunately, I don't. When I say it, can we just move on? Because I don't really like talking about Spanish players. So
it has to be. Just say the thing.
Say it, because I think we're all going to agree anyway. Go on.
It's Pedri, so let's just move on. It's Pedri. It's fantastic.
The watchers, if you've got your players of the tournament, put them in the chat as well if you can. Mikey, who have you got as your player of the tournament, senior and youth?
Yeah, this will be pretty quick. I agree with Uche. Raheem was player of the tournament by far. There wasn't anyone else that would stand out, and he should have received it even though England lost.
Yep.
And Pedri was the standout youngster, just ridiculous talent. In the World Cup, it's going to be a bit messy for some players.
Yep. Comment there from Bigger878. Sorry, Uche, we're talking about players like Grealish, Trent, Foden, etc. Southgate doesn't trust them.
Yeah,
I think we can all agree with that. There's a comment in there from Abu Kanade in terms of player of the tournament. At Mikey, why is it not KDB?
Yeah, Mikey.
I think Abu Kanade, I think you might have missed the final stages of the tournament. Belgium weren't there, so they didn't really. I think they played 2 games less than Raheem. So otherwise, if they were in the final, then we know KDB would have probably won it. But they're not, because they're not good enough. And that generation are going to be winning nothing. So the end.
Okay. All right. So let's wrap the show up there. As always, Monday night show, we're going to finish with highlights of the week. I won't go first this time. I normally steal everyone's thunder, but I'm not going to go first this time. I'm going to go, Mikey. Do you want to go first, as I tend to pick you last the last couple of weeks?
Now there's less of us. Now you can only see me. Yeah. Djokovic, 20 Grand Slams, tried to give the guy a couple of sets and still was pretty comfortable. He's going to go on and win another few. I think he's won every Grand Slam this year. He's beaten all the records and he should be acclaimed as the GOAT. I don't care about the Federer or the Nadal supporters. Djokovic is going to far surpass them. Nadal's a clay court specialist. So what? Federer is graceful, but Djokovic is the best.
Okay, so Djokovic for you, Mikey, and then Uche, what's your highlight of the week?
Well, it was going to be Djokovic. I just wanted to have a shout out for Djokovic because, what he's done is incredible. Someone told me this guy's going to be the greatest player a few years ago. It would have been incredible. So it's astonishing how he's been able to turn around and be so great. My highlight of the week actually happened late last night. Was it last night? Yeah, I had to wake up and just watched it. And that's, they call him the Greek freak. He should be called a Nigerian freak,
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it. I watched
I was gonna say, what's going on?
I watched the long highlight. I've got like a package where I watch the recap of the possession. It's like nearly 40 minutes long, but it's not the actual game. But yeah, 41. I think it was 41 points again. Ridiculous performance. Even was getting his free throws right, 13 out of 17, which for him is just ridiculously great. He's not going to repeat that. So he's had 2 40-point games back to back, which only I think the likes of Shaq and Michael Jordan has been able to do. And he's just carrying that team, and it's unfortunate that
he hasn't got anyone.
He has to continue to do that because his teammates are not serious. So I just thought it was magnificent. He would have been Djokovic, but yeah, the Greek freak all the way was my highlight. Actually, I know what your highlight will be, Rel, so go for it. I think someone.
Yeah, so I'm surprised you guys. Am I surprised? Not really surprised. So Saturday night, late Saturday night, a certain little man from Argentina lifted the Copa America. First time Argentina won it since 1993. First international senior tournament that Messi has won. So the haters, the ones who've been moaning about him not being able to lead Argentina to any glory, they can stop moaning now because he's done it.
Yeah, but I don't think it was moaning. Everyone loves Messi.
Nobody moans.
I've seen people moaning. I've seen it.
It was just a fact.
It's just a fact. You just can't argue with facts. It's just that people love Messi, and they're asking why he's not winning this minor cup where only Brazil are the only challengers.
Minor cup, okay. The haters are exposing themselves. Right, we are back.
There's no hate.
We are back next week.
There's no hate.
We are back next week.
Next.
No.
For America.
You mispronounced goats, Mikey.
You know
Go on. Right, so
they should let Jamaica in Copa America. that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of the show, lads. Thanks to Mikey D and Uche for joining us for this one. We're going to be back again next Monday for probably switching back to domestic affairs. I know Liverpool back in training camp for pre-season today. I don't know about the other teams. So going to switch it to domestic affairs, transfers, talking about what's coming up for our teams next season, what we think our teams are going to do, what they need to do in terms of changing their squads up. So yeah, join us for our show next week. Follow us on on all the social media platforms as well. Thanks to everyone who tuned in today and for your comments in the chat as well. So we'll see you again next week.
Yeah, thanks very much, guys. Bye.
Cheers, guys.